And I say, don't find yourself. I say, never know who you are, because that's what keeps you striving and discovering. That is one of the many quotes from this book from Mark Manson that I just read in the month of January, because my newest goal this year is to read one book a month. And I think that quote really resonates a lot with me, because I feel like so many times in our lives we try to spend our whole life finding out who we are, what we're meant to do, who we're meant to become. And I like this quote because it says to never find who you are, because once you find who you are, that's when you stop discovering other things you like, finding other interests and hobbies that you love, that you might find enjoyable. And I think that is something that we all need to learn, that the journey doesn't end once you become someone you're proud of. The journey doesn't end when you complete one big goal, but because the journey never ends. How do you keep improving if you quit once you hit your goal? How do you quit becoming better when you think you're already the best? Because you're never going to be perfect. And that's something that I think is so helpful from this book. And that's what I want to get into with this new series I'm going to start called Literary Lessons, where at the end of every month I recap the book I read and think the biggest takeaways from it. And hopefully you guys will want to read it as well. But if you guys have any other comments or ideas of things I should do or nonfiction books I should read, leave them down below in the comments, and let's get into this book by Mark Manson. I really like this book because it talks about how there's only so much in life you can really truly care about, because if you try to care about everything, then nothing gets done. If you care about what every single person thinks of you, then you're going to have so many different standards that you try to live up to, and it's just impossible to live up to how everybody wants you to be, because everybody wants you to be different to fit how they want and what they want from you. But if you care and you focus only on the art of getting better every day, of improving little steps, and not caring about so much the destination and mostly caring about the journey, then you're going to improve, because the only person that matters more in this life than God is yourself and how you view yourself. Then I really, really, really like, I believe it's chapter 7 of this book, because after all this talk about, not caring about other people's standards of you, not caring about what other people think, it talks about how not caring about failure, which is something that I feel like a lot of people struggle with. And I want to read this quote from page 150. Improvement at anything is based on thousands of tiny failures, and the magnitude of your success is based on how many times you failed at something. The chapter is called Failure is the Way Forward, and I think that quote right there really encapsulates the whole thing. Improvement at anything is based on the tiny failures. The only way forward is to fail. Failing is the way you learn, failing is the way you get better at something. And the magnitude of your success is based on how many times you failed at something. Think about the greatest basketball players in the world. Think about how many shots they've made. They've made so many more shots than you have. And they've also missed so many more shots than you have. They've been willing to fail so many times that now they've succeeded. And that is really, really important. The second quote I really want to read from this chapter is, we can only be truly successful at something we're willing to fail at. If we're unwilling to fail, then we're unwilling to succeed. By failing, you are truly willing to succeed, because failure means you're trying. You're not failing if you're trying, because you're working at something. You're working to get something. It doesn't mean you have to have it yet. I think so many of us see that we don't see results in the first 2 weeks of working out, doing whatever, bettering our life, and we just quit. We quit because we failed. But you truly don't fail if you're trying, because trying is the only way you get better. And one of those times, one of those tries, one of those attempts, you're going to succeed. Now, towards the end of his book, he has this chapter called And Then You Die. And it really encapsulates how there really is truly not much that you have to care about. Care about the things you want to care about. You get to choose what you care about. And he says, you too are fortunate to have died, because that means you lived. And I think that is so important, to realize that you only have so much limited time on this earth. and only so much time to do what you want to truly do. So why would you listen to the opinions of others? He says at the end of his book, like right before it ends, he says, don't be afraid of anything, ever. And what he means is, don't be afraid to ask that person out. Don't be afraid to text that person back. Don't be afraid to go for that thing, start that business, because you two are going to die. And someday these things aren't even going to come close to mattering. You two are going to die. So why not live like it? Stop caring what others think of you, and have a great rest of your day. I love you guys. Peace. I rate this book like really a 9.8 out of 10. It's one of my favorite books I've ever read. I've read quite a few books, but that's all for Literary Lessons #1. And if you have any nonfiction books that you want me to read next for March, because for February I'm reading The Mountain Is You, I really appreciate that, and I love you guys.